Welcome to the breakfast hour.
Well,
It
I want to say this morning to somebody, if you have just joined us, where have you been? It's a question for you. Of course, you can remember to join us on www.flashpointmedia.ky every single morning at 6:30 in the a.m. Because, of course, we're not streaming the same time because um, we like to play some nice jazz music, and YouTube don't like us for that. Yes, even when we have copyright clearance, we still get strikes and all kind of things. So I kind of like stay away from the playing of music and stuff while we do I think at some point we'll have to come up with a different platform to share the breakfast hour on, so we can actually get some of those inspirational songs. Like I have one on my turntable right now that I'd like to just share. I'm still here. I'm still here. Though the devil tried to kill me, I'm still here. I want to tell somebody that I'm still here. Though the devil tried to kill me, I am still here. For some persons who understand my journey is not a simple one. And I think people who see me now scoff at me and think that I'm not supposed to be able to do this.
mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I find it a little bit disheartening. I can understand the government, the police. I can understand all of the what you call it, the surrounding entities that would be unforgiving. And of course, it is what it's supposed to be. But the church is not one of those.
Yes.
Not the building, guys. Not the building. Not the building. I don't subscribe to the church being the building. Please, church is God's temple. And I was talking about this earlier. When last have you heard that we are building a temple for God, Lady Ellis?
Building up the, you remember that song?
Building up the temple. We sing the song, but we're not true to what we sing.
Yes.
Building up the temple is the God, and I put it every time. When we make a church building,
Yes.
the question I ask every time, what do we do? We make a building to, I don't know the there is. When they make a church building, what do you expect from it? What do you do when you make the church building? What do we do?
Ah, um
I don't know. Just tell me what your mind is, because
it's a
that's a big
place
conversation.
to it's a place to worship and a place set aside um for worship. It was an interesting conversation on the weekend when we, of course, had the opportunity to attend the Manor Foundation fundraising for the Ebenezer Seventh day Adventist Church. And of course, this is not a temple, that was made clear. It's going to be a multi-purpose, so it's not going to be a place that you come just once or twice a week, like you come on Sabbath and the
But you
building
just
is
said a while ago,
closed.
you just paint a target on me now because I didn't want you to go there.
Well, you don't have to respond. Just listen to the
I was
conversation.
about to say something about it, building the temple, and I'm saying this to you. I'm gonna say
You
that
you want to, so that it's not adjoined or connected to the
no, it was not
conversation.
even it was not even connected to that conversation.
is
But
it is it gonna connect
what you did,
now?
what you did was you brought the conversation there by introducing the idea. But then, anyways, here's what I
Why
want.
did I do that?
No, no, it is not a problem because the idea is still good. The idea is still good. It's a good idea.
Yes.
It's a good idea. And I could tell you why it's a good idea, but I don't want to talk it on the air why it's a good idea. Because then somebody else will hear me say it and then say, oh, that's what's happening. And I don't want to go no further with that. But it's not a bad idea. It's a very, very good idea. No, 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 look at me. It's a very good idea, Lady Elise. It's a good idea. Trust me. It's a good idea. But
Okay.
what I wanted to allude to was you said it earlier that we build a place that we can come to worship.
Yes.
The church.
Yes.
that we, the church, come to worship. But it will be that temple for God to preside for us that we come to worship Him. We as the church want somewhere that we can do the worship. Of course, yes. Perfect. It sounds like semantics when I'm saying it. It sounds like semantics. It don't sound like it makes sense. I know.
Yes.
I know. It sounds like semantics. But when you build a church, you build a church for the church to come in worship.
Yes.
That's what they build a church for. For themselves. For us. For the church.
Yes.
But if you build a temple, you build a temple unto God. So we can come to worship Him.
Right.
Or come in His presence. Or we build a temple not for the church, but for God. That every time somebody, let's hear the argument, and I'm going to say it like this.
Yeah.
Somebody talk to you, they say, what's a popular conversation? I'm not coming to your
Church.
because all I know are
Hypocrite.
worship hypocrite.
Stop.
Just saying
Michael
it.
G, can you stop?
I'm just, ladies, I'm just saying the thing. But all right, let me ask you this now. If I build a temple for God,
Yes.
to God, for God, not for the church,
Yes.
but for
God.
God to dwell amongst us,
Yes.
and so we can come to
Worship.
worship who?
Yes.
Him.
Yes.
So the temple is not for the church, but for
God.
God. All right. Here's where we're going to go now. When somebody say, we're not coming today,
Church. Temple.
they temple of,
God.
because what?
You are hypocrites.
It's not that they're not coming to worship you now. You're coming to worship God. You're not coming to God because you are hypocrites. But even at the worst conversation, do you hear the concept? We are
Aye.
not coming today.
Church.
No, we're not coming to
The temple.
God's
To God. Yes.
God's temple.
Yes.
Every time they say it, they're like, why wouldn't I want to go to God's temple?
Ah.
Why wouldn't I want? Why would I make somebody who is an hypocrite stop me from coming to God's temple? Why? Why would I do that to myself? I'm not coming quickly. The person would know I am not coming to them. I am coming to
God.
God.
Yes.
But what we keep doing, we keep building a church for the church, and of course, so the church can worship God.
God. Yes.
So when you look at the subject matter of why the church is built,
Yes.
it is built for the church to be comfortable to worship God.
Yes.
He is wrong in being comfortable in worshiping God. But when last have we built a temple for God?
Yes.
See that conversation and at the next end of the script. That's what I would say this morning. I'm still here, I'm still here. Though the devil tried to kill me, I'm still here.
You're listening to Flashback.
I don't know, Lady Elise, but guess what? I'm just telling you.
I hear you. I hear you loud and clear this morning. I hear you.
That's my thoughts, right? My thoughts is very simple. I don't, but I can tell you something, though, to be
Yes.
real and to be true. I think it's a conversation that what we this says for the man too. I want to thank Sister Judith McFarlane too. I've never heard the quotation before. The man who wins souls is wise. She made a statement to me some years ago.
Yeah, I think I have mentioned it. It has made such an impact on you, Mikey G, that I've heard you mention that on a few occasions, you
Yes,
know. Yeah.
I want to repeat that. and I'm saying, just to tell you that I am thankful for that conversation when I was at the Lion Center. I can't forget where I was, and I can't forget exactly where I was standing up. I was standing up right where the food court was, right where that section where the food was, and I was closer to the door, to the front, at that column right there at the column. I never forget it. I remember as clear as day where I was standing, what was happening, and this was the conversation I was having, and this was what was being said to me.
Yes.
And I asked her to repeat it for me. Remind me of what you said. And she said, "The man who get to win souls is wise."
Yes. Yes.
And I want to thank Sister Judith McFarlane this morning for, you know,
To our listeners who probably aren't sure, remember we have listeners all over the world. Sister Judith McFarlane is a member of the Ebenezer Seventh Day Adventist Church right here in Grand Cayman. And if you ever get a chance to visit, ever get a chance to be here in Grand Cayman, that's a good place to stop. We are, well, currently Ebenezer worships at the Georgetown Primary School Hall, and I see that there's going to be a special program coming up this Sabbath at the Ebenezer Seventh day Adventist Church. We haven't shared our notice board because we had a few technical difficulties, but still a lot happening. Want to remind our listeners and viewers, of course, the camp meeting is being held at the Savannah Seventh day Adventist Church. Of course, it is the second week, and of course, it's going to be also on Sabbath, the finale, I believe, on the 21st.
grand
So,
finale on the 21st.
yes, Pastor
Yeah,
Franz
that's this weekend,
Chambers.
right?
Yes,
That's this
that's
weekend.
that's this
Looking at it,
weekend.
I'm looking at the date on that one. Today's the 19th day of December.
Yes.
Faster than a speeding locomotive. The year is running away with us, of course, it is. And there's many things coming up. Many.
Yeah, a lot is happening. A lot is happening. And of course, we want to also remind our listeners that we are planning our Blue Mountain um, extraordinary trip. Yes.
That's next year, 2025.
Yeah, don't say next year like next year is far. Next year is just
Oh,
around the
no,
corner.
next year is like next week. And of course, when we speak of next year, you can't speak of it in the context of how we used to before. Well, it's a long time we have to go. And
Yeah.
was creep up on us like a thief in the night. And now we are at the end of it. And all the things that we planned to do this year, the year has ended and we have not gotten a chance to do any of it. In fact, it's time to take a break from trying to do.
Yes. Yeah.
So you take a break and think about that. See what 2025 will do. If it's possible that God would not say, "Today, thou fool."
Your soul is required of thee. Oh
Yeah.
boy.
So that's just an opportunity that we all have to visit with God sooner or later, sometimes sooner than later. And I'm telling you, today I want to be in a place where if that's my day, I want to be there, ready.
You want to be ready. Yeah.
Not not just jogging around trying to grab everything. And all the things that I want to do is I want to be sure that I am capable and able to get in, not at the last minute. This is why Flashpoint exists, because I want to be working for God. I want to be
Yes.
all. I want to get up every morning and do my bit. I want to do what I am called to do. I want to do what I am intended to do.
Yes.
And I feel sometimes a little tearful sometimes, Lady Elise, that I would have gotten this opportunity to be that person, to be able to do the thing that God, at 14 years of age, I would have gotten a scholarship to go to the Dead West Indies College. Of course, it would have been not to the college, but to the school first, the high school, and then as a feeder school, I would
Yes.
have gotten a chance to be involved in ministry in theology training and all of that. That was the college scholarship that I would have gotten at 14, going 15 years of age.
Yes.
And this was something that happened, and I flatly turned it down. My mother was upset with me up until now. I think she's in her grave turning, and was upset with me at that time. You
Yes.
know,
Yes.
my mother never got to see me. No,
Yeah.
she didn't get to see this version of me.
Mhm.
And when I sit here and when I come on the breakfast hour each morning, I sometimes wish my mother was able to see this version of me.
Ah.
I mean, a little rough around the edges, I would imagine some people might say. Michael G, rough, you know. Michael G, not refined at all. He just say the thing that comes to his mouth. Nothing.
Unfiltered. Unfiltered.
So let's name so you know the next the program that I'm going to be on, that we are going to be designing, and you have just named it.
Unfiltered.
Really. And, and so there it is. You now know the program name. You now know the program name.
Yes.
And very soon that program is coming up. I was searching for the name and couldn't figure it out. I'm telling you. So I didn't even share this with you yet. I'm telling you, I didn't even share this with you yet. You remember we're talking about we have a program that we wanted to do, but we wanted to look at various issues, and we don't want to pull any. We don't want to sugarcoat it. We don't want it to be placed under any what you call any censorship.
Mhm.
I want it to be coming out as it is, so people can see the raw skin on the thing.
Yes.
We
Yes.
don't want to put it up to make it come out and it looks nice that everybody sees it. And now you give the program name. 19th of December 2024, 7, well, it is 40 now, 7:40 a.m. But I think you'd have said it at least a minute ago. So it would have been 7:39. I'm
Wow.
I'm etching it in time right here, copywriting it right here on the breakfast hour. So somebody
Interesting.
hear me say this, you can
And
always come back to this date and know that I said this. Unfiltered is the next program on Flashpoint. And it doesn't mean it's a Mikey G program. It's a program that we all share the platform.
yes.
Unfiltered can be, hosted by any of the Flashpoint team members.
Okay.
Thinking that's something that, I would love to see come to the platform for some people to understand, to hear. We talk about stuff that sometimes it don't sound like we really, you know, understand what's really going on. But then,
Uh-huh.
of course, a week might pass and you start to realize that, of course, this is exactly what's going on, and you know what's happening. So there are lots of stuff that we have not touched. We have not even looked at it. But I'm thinking that we must look at it. We must see it. You know, we have to be at some point a Donald Trump. You know,
All
look at
right.
us, orange man.
So of course we know that it's a busy season, and of course here in Cayman Islands we have quite a bit of uh well activities, a few activities happening here. I saw at least four cruise ship in port yesterday. And of course, this morning I saw one heading in. I'm not sure how busy the town is, but it is a buzz of activity, and there is a definite rush to finish some road work in the middle of Georgetown, right on Edward Street in the vicinity of Thompson Building. Still a lot of work happening. I understand that there's not much um, work in the days, because I understand that they do use jackhammers and so forth that could disrupt businesses and the court, which is nearby. But I see that there are a lot of
Uh,
activities happening
why,
in
why
town.
would they suspend the court and allow the road work to continue so that we can all have a Merry Christmas?
Your merriness of your Christmas. All right. Well, then we could ask the question: what makes the time a happy one? Is it the gifts and the toys? Suppose yeah, I mean, Dr. K came on yesterday and spoke about grief. Suppose you have nothing to celebrate. Suppose you are without funds to engage in all the commercial activities. The holiday is a time to spend with your family, and if that's what you are able to do, even without gift giving, I think we should embrace it. It's not about the aesthetics. What I know for sure, and even you do it, Mikey G, if you want to finish and pack up things and wrap it up for the year so that 2025 starts, it's almost a new page. So you are fixing the road, you want it to be done so you can start another project in
Well,
2025.
for the project to be started in 2024, 2025, sorry,
Yes.
2025, and we want to be done with the one in 2024. There are many projects that are going to be continuing in 2025.
Yes. And
And so,
why is there silence?
and so when we consider we are talking about the road work and the courthouse is being disrupted and all that. And so I allude to the fact that if you suspend the courts, then you would probably get more work going
I,
on. Let me go. Let me finish. That you can get the actual reason for Christmas to happen, the commerce of all Christmas. Because how much money do you make sending people to prison? I'm not sure. Or do you spend money to do it? But anyways, so I'm thinking that people must come to justice, whichever way it is. If you have detained the guys already and are in court, if they are on bail or whatever, you give to them the bond. I think you can't wait until after Christmas. You send them to jail. Of course, you get them at. I don't know if you want to send them to jail early, that they can go spend time with their best favorite families. I don't know, but whichever way you choose, it doesn't matter. That some people are just habitual criminals, right? They just want to be in jail all the time, 3 square meal a day, no wife to obey, all of that. And I think it's a
no wife to obey? I had to
that's a
just
that's a
hear
that's
that
a
one.
statement that is common amongst persons who
No wife to obey? Is
3 square meals a day, no wife to obey, and that's it.
okay.
You see, when there's a question was asked, you know, and when I listened to the question, it was such a question that people laughed about the whole thing, you know. But if when you hear me say no, you listen to you grab the part. You didn't hear 3 square meals a day.
No, I didn't hear that.
You heard no wife to obey, you know. And that was something I was listening to Kevin Hart the other day on one of those shorts. I was just tapping in, and I heard the young man, talked about, something similarly. Don't want to get into that now, but you know, when we think about it though, the if God was supposed to come today, would all of this be necessary though?
What?
The road work, locking up a few more criminals,
Well,
buying a few more
he
homes.
did say occupy until he comes. So
Right. And I'm saying if he was supposed to come now, today, in fact, if he was supposed to come on the 24th, just one day before Christmas Day, how would it work?
well, it wouldn't work.
I just for argument's sake,
everything would change.
what if it comes on Christmas Day as we all planned it, the 25th of December?
E-
What if it comes on that day? What will we do then? I guess,
everything changes, Mikey G. Everything, absolutely everything would change.
what about the road work?
No road work for what?
Can you see where I'm going?
I see where you're going.
Can you understand how
I
foolish we have been for a very long time? We feel that what we are doing is so significant when it is so insignificant. what we do. Nothing that we do, all the things that we do, we claim it to be so significant. But
Yes.
look how insignificant it can become.
Yeah.
How many persons will go, all right, here I am, and we're talking about the courthouse now. Most important persons are the persons in legislation who are in the House of Parliament and the judges, people in
Right.
this high society, immigration officers or immigration within this context of the Cayman Islands. Government. And each morning I'm the governor, and so I get up. But then Jesus come. Jesus is here now. Jesus is here now. What will the Prime Minister do this morning? What will the governor be doing this morning? What will be the chief immigration officer doing this morning? What will the chief justice doing this morning? What will they be doing?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, mind you, most of these people don't believe in God anyhow. Mind you. I'm not saying all. I'm saying most people don't believe in God anyhow. Even if they did when they were growing up, it was as a church thing. Their mother forced them to go to church, which is always the case. If you force them to go to the temple of God, then it would have been, force me to go to the temple of God. You wouldn't be to church. You see? You hear how far removed we are when we talk about this. We're building the church. Because people not, up until now, people have never gone to God's house. They've always gone to the church. It's not God's house, it's church. And so when you don't go to church, it's just church. But if it was God's temple, a long time I haven't been to the temple of God. It says a different message to you. It sounds different in your ear when you listen to it. No more need for the important jobs that we have.
Uh, you know, you brought it from the perspective of talking about church, but look at how life is, you know, and how when sickness comes, how the importance of
Different things look.
everything, the importance of that job that you can't be late for, that job that you must attend, that everything
Eating,
changes,
vacation time, all of it,
everything changes,
all of it.
um and that's a dynamic area of life, and you mentioned it life is so dynamic, and so each moment that we have, it needs to go beyond just what we are able to see, Mikey G. Does not just,
And,
you know,
and,
you
and let's
know,
move,
just
mark it up one more step. Let's go one more phase of it.
one more page of it.
Let's go one more phase.
Yes,
Let's chalk it up one step higher.
yes.
Let's go to a young man, young woman who decides that she's going to give up her fertility and her rights to have children to seek a career. And a young man who wants to stay home and be a housewife. Anyways, leave that alone. Let's look at us being all career driven and we're all busy trying to figure it out. And so I've excelled, we talked about a chief justice yesterday in Jamaica who has she died. And, when she died, one of the things of her death was she was divorced, being dead. One of her biggest achievement. That's what one of it was. She was divorced and dead. But what was also big was that she was a chief justice, honorable. Divorce, very important. Chief justice, dead. Here's a rule for this. You have these important jobs and you are working yourself off to death. And then one day, old age hit you. And the people who think you are important for these jobs all these years simply come to you one morning and say to you, hey, Mikey G, there's a younger version of you that exists right now, and
We no longer need you.
you have to clear the seat because that
Clear your
person
desk,
is here.
pack your stuff,
Pack up
be
your desk.
gone.
Please, I mean, not in so many words, right? But
Yes.
in essence, that's what is being said to you. There is a younger version of you that maybe is 0.0, 3.0, 4.0. That is a better version, of course, because now they are even AI technologically sound.
Yes.
And you are the old version who didn't catch up to AI yet either. But anyways, age is a factor. You can't go much further.
Yes.
And now you're at home. You remember the days when nothing could work without you being in the mix of things.
Right.
You remember when the sun and the moon and the stars set around you. You remember when those were the days when you were the most important person in the room and everybody came to see you. And when you speak, no dog bark. And now you don't even left with a bark.
That's a fact of life there.
Right.
Life.
You don't have teeth, much less bark. None of it is there anymore. Gone.
I
We
think I
feel
shared, you remember I shared that poem? Sans teeth, sans,
sans times.
sans everything.
I've never
I'm gonna
found that
find it.
poem. You must find that poem again and share it with us.
I'm gonna, I'm gonna share that poem. But I just want to, I mean, as we're speaking about spending in our conversation, also to note that today is National Regifting Day.
Mm.
Regifting, regifting, and what that means, each year on the Thursday before Christmas, people across the United States participate in National Regifting Day. The day acknowledges the office parties and the unique Christmas gift exchanges that they do. This particular December, Thursday appears to be the most common day for companies to hold their annual employee company parties. So, as a method of recycling, approximately 14% of those surveyed believe that regifting is becoming more popular for that reason alone, right? While it may be an official holiday in some states, we recommend caution when deciding to regift something. The term does suggest, after all, that the item is unwanted to begin with and may be unwanted by the next recipient. So you have a gift that maybe you don't want, or maybe say it doesn't fit, it's an art, and then you can regift it, you can wrap it, and or you might get something.
Well, I would say if you have a brand new Lexus outside and you don't want maybe a Mercedes Benz or one of those nice Porsches and you don't want it, re-gift it. Of course, Mikey G will be waiting for one.
you
You
know
know, Flashpoint would benefit from that. Thank you. You know, just you don't
i'm
need it.
i'm glad.
You don't want it. Just give it to Mikey G.
I
Or
had
ask
a yeah, I
him.
had an experience, Mikey G, where I went to a function and there were it's an office function and they were exchanging gifts. But the
Mm,
thing is, I don't know how they arranged it from the beginning, but the participants all got up with their gifts and they were given the instruction: pass your gift to the left, then pass it to the right, then circle. So it's almost always you just shuffle the gifts. The gifts were being shuffled, and in the end, some persons, there was a gentleman there, unfortunately got a handbag.
yeah. Um. Yeah. But it is. You might smile about
So
it. You might smile about it. Maybe the gentleman who got the handbag,
no,
maybe
no,
he,
no.
maybe
So he can
so
re-gift.
maybe the person who got the handbag, maybe see, some people get in the handbag. Some men get in the handbag is just a perfect gift for them. Which is rightfully.
Why
I
did I
was
have to share that? I
Yeah,
couldn't.
some men, I would say this right now. It is best they have the handbag because they are just operating with the handbag mentality. And so when you operate with a handbag mentality as a man, then you should be getting handbags for Christmas. And I believe that I think most of our men right now that I'm looking at, I would buy lots of handbags for them. Lots and lots of handbags. There is let's re-gift some of these men with some handbags because I think it suits them very well.
I am not going there with you, Mikey G.
You know what? I also understand that there are some people who amputate some body parts of some men. I think they could refit them on some women and give them a chance to be more masculine. How about that? All
On
right,
that
that's me gifting for Christmas,
on that
guys.
note, on that
Some of you
note,
guys don't need it anymore. Cut it off. In
on
fact,
that
here's the one that
note,
I got. Here's the one that I got. Here it is. Here's
on
the
that
one that
note, yes,
there's a lady that came on a Steve Harvey show, and
yes,
she says, "What is the thing that makes the thing that would make a man masculine if
yes.
you remove it?"
And what is that thing?
Sorry, not prevent him from being masculine if you remove it.
What is it?
Well, Steve called it the weenie. Survey says if you remove the man's weenie, he says if she removes the man's weenie, it don't make him not masculine anymore because they don't need it. The men don't need it. And so the survey says if you remove a man's weenie, he's no longer masculine. That's what survey says.
Okay.
Yeah, I know. I just have to say that. I think just the castration of the guys around, not somewhat physical. You watch the guys walking around castrated like dogs. I watch them all the time. I see them. I'm like, oh my god, there's a castrated dog right here. I'm like, oh my god, no man, it's bad. It's bad, ladies. It's bad. It's bad. It's bad.
On that note, it is time for our news, Mikey G.
I know. News time, guys, is brought to you by SI Ultrasound for all your ultrasound needs right here in the Grand Cayman Islands. And of course, some guys fitting out for the temple, going to church on Sabbath morning with their handbags. Go, guys, wear the
Time
handbags.
for the news, Mikey G.
I can't. It just gets me.
News time, Mikey G. News time.
Oh, God, I tell you. News time.
Good morning, Cayman. These are your news headlines on Flashpoint Radio. I'm Coralie Karen. Government explores land swap with DART. Enterprises for Barker's National Park in a bid to expand the Barker's Peninsula into a publicly owned national park. The government is in discussions with DART Enterprises for a potential land swap deal. This negotiation is tied to resolving the stalled Georgetown landfill waste-to-energy plant project, which was abandoned after several years due to high costs. Former Sustainability Minister Catherine Ebanks Wilkes revealed that the government might owe DART Enterprises $38 million to terminate the project. A memorandum of understanding has been announced to cover three matters: the National Roads Authority agreement, the Integrated Solid Waste Management Systems contract, and advancing the Barker's National Park concept. A civil service-led negotiation team chaired by Deputy Governor Franz Manderson aims to ensure a seamless transition of agreements regardless of election outcomes. Critics remain skeptical, noting concerns over the financial impacts and the complexity of the talks. Attorney General calls for review of drug sentences amidst disparity concerns. Amid claims of disproportionate sentencing between Caymanians and foreigners in drug cases, Attorney General Samuel Bulgin Casey has proposed a review of 5 years of sentencing data. The goal is to ensure fairness and transparency in judicial outcomes. This comes as legislation has been introduced to extend Coast Guard authority to aircraft in Caymanian airspace suspected of drug trafficking, aligning with international treaties. Lawmakers, including MP Chris Saunders, have raised concerns about potential biases in court decisions and called for measures to address the issue. German firm secures contract to upgrade Doppler radar. The Cayman Islands National Weather Service has awarded a $622,260 contract to Leonardo Germany to upgrade the Kearney Gomez Doppler radar. The radar, located in East End, plays a critical role in disaster preparedness and meteorological services. This upgrade aligns with international standards, ensuring Cayman remains at the forefront of weather monitoring technology. The project will commence immediately. Jordan Crooks breaks world record at 2024 World Aquatics Championships. Caymanian swimming sensation Jordan Crooks has shattered the world record in the 50-meter freestyle, becoming the fastest swimmer in history. Crooks completed the race in under 20 seconds, a feat many in the swimming world believed unattainable. The young athlete from Prospect has solidified his place in international sporting history, adding another gold medal to his accolades and inspiring a new generation of Caymanian swimmers. Bar burglar sentenced to 3.5 years in prison. A magistrate has handed a 3.5-year sentence to a repeat offender convicted of multiple burglary charges, including an incident involving alcohol theft and a drunken escapade inside a bar he broke into. Authorities are highlighting the importance of addressing repeat offenses with appropriate sentencing to ensure public safety. Those were your news headlines on Flashpoint Radio. Please continue to stay with us for more updates as they become available.
Of course, we want to thank Coralie Karen for sharing the news with us this morning so ably. So much happening in the news today. So much happening around the world. So much happening right here in the Cayman Islands this morning. And of course, I'm sure there are a few takeaways from the news, and of course, we know that at least we had some good news. We are still celebrating the world record of Jordan Crooks. He's from Prospect, and hopefully the Flashpoint team will be able to catch up with him at some point, of course, as I'm sure when he gets back on island, he will be in high demand, you know. But certainly, I want to say congratulations on a job well done. Congratulations to the man Jordan Crooks on breaking the world record. So much in the news, Mikey G. So much in the news, but you know, it's a no news. No news is good news.
This now we actually have some good news. We now listen to the idea of the young man who has now become the number one in the world champion. You
Yes,
know,
yes.
Grand Cayman. That's good. I'm trying to figure out the parents.
You're
Are the
figuring out
parents?
the parents.
Yeah. Is he mixed? Is he a mixed Caymanian or is he just a? Anyways, I'm gonna leave it at that. But I'm gonna say thanks for so many the Dart Enterprise story that the government is somewhat having discussion around the thoughts that they should not give him the, some stuff, and so he's kind of forcing them to actually make good on their deal. You know, you signed the deal
Land
already.
swapping
Land swap.
idea.
Let's swap the lands. All right, guys. I want to build my place right here. I have my own city, and I'm going to build it. So please swap out the land, man. But anyways, it'd be a good. I think it'd be a good fit though to move the dump from where it is. Um,
Yes,
I think it's not a bad idea for doing that. It has been considered for many years. As long as I know myself, being in Cayman, it has been a thought that the landfill is too centralized in the town of Grand Cayman. Since and of course reminding persons that in the initial stage of the Cayman experience, the Georgetown area was never the capital or the town of Cayman. It was the Bordentown area that was the first town that Cayman experienced. But then Georgetown quickly developed and, of course, has grown into that centralized location that many persons would traverse and consider the town and, of course, the most active place within the Cayman context.
you know, I'm happy you brought the conversation there because I was deliberating driving through the town um, this week,
Right.
one late evening, and I know that there is a deliberate effort to revitalize the town because there are a few businesses in the town, but I didn't see a lot of pedestrian traffic. I didn't see a lot of, and a few businesses in the town have closed their doors. I noticed that the coffee shop by the library, Bluestone, is no longer there. Bread and chocolate. That used to be a vegetarian restaurant. They have also closed their doors.
That might mean that many people don't like vegetarian food or vegetarianism is not.
Or no, it could be just that the town it might be not as active. I know that when the cruise ships are in port, then you will have persons walking along. But as a resident of Georgetown, very rarely I find the need. And I'm just by thinking
What,
about it.
what could it be that I've driven away people from the town though?
Uh, it's not driven away, but attracted elsewhere.
Attracted elsewhere. And if they are attracted elsewhere, what could make the town more attractive then? That they would be attracted back to it, or even share the attraction within the town and everywhere else that they're attracted to.
Well, that's a good conversation to have. Dairy Queen is no longer there. Dairy Queen that used to be.
You can notice that these are the things that Lady Elise likes, so you know what's happening.
All right, I'm not going to speak anymore. I am quiet.
No, no, you could speak the things that is true to you because many persons are having the same conversation. There are some places like the sandbar that some people would have gone to. That is no, I think it has been affected at somewhere or another. And people were like, "Where's the sandbar?" Didn't get to go to the sandbar, and it gone. It was ice bar. Sorry, not the sandbar, the ice bar. There was such a thing as the ice bar. I wanted to go at one point to see what it was. because they say it was cold inside, and I don't know what it was, but
You know what else has gone to? There used to be a glass bottom, and I think the time it was right after COVID. I think they announced their closure, though, and certainly you can understand the impact. And I don't know if it's related to what happened during that lockdown time, but a lot of the businesses that rely heavily on tourism, they struggled, and even now we have not returned to our former state. There are still a few vacant stores at the front, and it's you said it. We rely on each other, as much as we'd like to think otherwise, and the wheel keeps spinning, Mikey G.
we keep
I
turning.
have to do this so you can do this. I do this, I manufacture this, and you get that, and I purchase it. I come,
We
so
are we
we
are dependent on each other.
we are dependent, we are interdependent, and 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 of course, before we get out of here, Mikey G, I know I'm throwing everything at you at the same time, but of course, Elder Edgar Bennett.
Yeah, yesterday morning, Lady Elise, I could kick myself after the show was finished. Yesterday morning,
Why
I
would
realized
you want to kick yourself, Mikey G?
because I wrote it down to remind myself that I should remember not to
That you
forget.
should sing,
Remember that I should not forget. That I
that
should
you
remember.
should
That I
sing.
should forget. That I should remember. That I should not forget. That I should remember. That I should not forget. That I should remember. That I shouldn't forget. That I should remember. That I shouldn't forget.
Okay.
And so I did forget, forget, and now I am now. I want to say happy belated birthday to Elder Bennett, of course, from the Breakfast Hour team. Of course, is also his teammate Corley Corinne, um, giving her a quota of from the Grand Revival Bible Study Hour. Of course, she's crossing lines here, crossing lanes, and having her fingers in several parts of the Flashpoint saga. And of course, she has been very instrumental in so many. I want to thank her also for able way of for operating the newsroom, and of course being doing such a great job right now. Of course, as we're still on Elder Bennett's birthday, I want to say happy birthday to Elder Bennett, and for
Belated. It was actually
birthday,
yesterday.
I want to almost kick myself for not remembering yesterday, and I want to say that twice, three times. And I wish you have many, 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 many more happy birthdays. And I hope that you had a wonderful day yesterday. Um,
Yes, and he lives by the mantra, the best is yet to come. So I hope that
best
your
is yet
best,
to come. All
yes,
right. I guess that's where I would put it. I
put it right there. Put it,
put it right
put
there. I
it.
wouldn't I wouldn't say anything more. I'd leave it at that place. I'd simply put it there. So happy birthday, Ella Bennett, from the Flashpoint team and your colleagues.
Happy birthday, and wishing you many, 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 and many, many, and many, many, and many, many, many more happy ones. As
Wonderful,
as
wonderful.
promised, I'm gonna share this poem. We're getting ready to get out of studio, and
Yes.
this one is from by William Shakespeare. The speech, "All the World's a Stage." Here goes, and it's from As You Like It. All the world's a stage, and all the men and women merely players. They have their exits and their entrances, and one man in his time plays many parts, his acts being seven ages. At first, the infant, mewling and puking in the nurse's arms, and then the whining schoolboy with his satchel and shining morning face creeping like snail unwillingly to school, and then the lover, sighing like furnace, with a woeful ballad made to his mistress's eyebrow. Then a soldier, full of strange oaths and bearded like the pard, jealous in honor, sudden and quick in quarrel, seeking the bubble reputation even in the cannon's mouth. And then the justice, in fear round a belly with good cap and lind, with eyes severe and beard of formal cut, full of wise saws and modern instances, and so he plays his part. The sixth age shifts into the lean and slippered pantaloon, with spectacles on nose and pouch on side. His youthful hose, well saved, a world too wide for his shrunk shank, and his big manly voice turning again toward childish treble, pipes and whistles in his sound. Last scene of all that ends this strange, eventful history, his second childishness and mere oblivion. Sans teeth, sans eyes, sans taste, sans everything.
Sifting through the hands of time is our lives like an hourglass
Yes,
lost in time.
yes,
We find, that we are feeling ourselves so important
yes,
while we live. And we become so hideous and disrespectful to others while we go forward in our daily walk and forget that there comes a time when we are no more.
yeah,
And long before we are dead, this is what our reality is: no more. So some people think that when you are dead is when you're no more, but you're long no more, long before death hits you.
yes.
Here is lots of persons who have chased down career choices, and of course, I'm beating up our women every day about this. Let me go with it. Don't stop it, ladies. We have told our women that it is important for them to have these career choices over having families. And we are teaching our young ladies that it is important to get a job over being prepared and ready to be married and have a family.
Right.
We teach this. I know that some persons are saying, Michael, they can't take care of themselves. But then if we make the society that they have to take care of themselves, then that's what you're going to do. If you make prisons everywhere for people to be in prison, where will people live?
Prison.
They live in prison. And so we have made the society so that we depend on the ideology that it is stupid for a woman if you ask her, what will you do when you finish high school? I am waiting to be married. To become a hideous and disrespectful thing that a woman could do. What is more blatantly disrespectful is that the church of the living God has bought and drink the same Kool-Aid. The church of the living God has bought and drink the same Kool-Aid. There is no greater honor for our women than to bear families. And I'm not saying that you don't need your women to be educated either. But you should not have said the thing that you say that the importance of education is superseding the importance of marriage. I'm sure that long after you're married, if your husband wants you to be anywhere else, it's fine. Here is what got a lot of persons upset when I just said that a while ago. If my husband wants me to be where, I can do it if I want. Yes, you can, but you're not going to be married to that man. And marriage is not for you. So you're not the married person. So understand that you have just disqualified yourself from what we're talking about. You're not that person we're talking about. Because marriage is for people who want to be aligned with God's principles. I am saying when we do what the world does, we find ourselves in the gutter with the world doing the same thing. I've watched many women choose career paths, ignoring the principles of, and it's not the women that does it, it is the families and the generation that teaches them to do this nonsense. And when you lose the opportunities to become at 36, you can't really be a suitable mother anymore. You start to run the risk of creating problems for the children and yourself. You know, you want to start having children at 40, complicating the children's life, giving them all sorts of disease and sicknesses. I'm saying something has gone wrong, and the Christian church should not participate in that nonsense. I would suggest that choosing careers after marriage would be a good idea. So you have secured your children and childbirth first, and then you could go choose the careers that you want to be viable. I don't know how it works if you have somebody who takes care of everything, but let's leave it at that. It's a bigger conversation, and I'm saying, but I just want to put it on the table there, ladies. It's not a good one to have. I know it burns like a son of a every time I say it, but
Can you not say it tomorrow?
I try. You know, I spent a long time in the classroom lately.
I like how you did that one. I like how you just did one. You're like, I try.
I spent quite a bit of time in the classroom for many years.
You're having it.
I've had many successes. I'm speaking from a long life of career of having a great success of being an educator, and would have succeeded in allowing students to actually excel in what they do.
Okay.
I have my methodology and the way I do things.
Yes.
One, I teach discipline first. I find that if you're unruly and not disciplined, you're unable to do anything with yourself.
Yes.
Mind you, I didn't pride discipline very much, but I learned how to understand it.
Yes.
So what I did, I applied the discipline to my teaching technique after learning what it actually does for the individual.
Yes.
And I can tell you the results are impeccable.
Yes.
100% CXC passes. That is ridiculous for anybody to do.
Yeah.
And here's where the stupidity comes from. You did not screen the students and say you're going to just choose the bright ones to sit the exam.
Right.
You make even the dunce ones sit it too. Those dunce students who you think can't pass anything, those students who seemingly will be unsuccessful, who will bring down the grades and cause you to not be a good teacher and to be back at the last, at the lowest on the graft of being the best teacher in the whole school and in the Caribbean. Those students, I make all of them sit the exam. When they advise me, you need to screen the students. I said no. Is a word I use. Hell no. Each student have this opportunity to sit the exam and to fail it if they choose to fail it. Give it to them. Why would you be the God and choose that they should fail or not before they even start the thing?
I like that idea because believe it or not, teachers are so, I don't want to minimize the role. We signal it. We have a day that we celebrate teachers, right? We have Teachers Day, but every day you recognize how important a teacher is, and at every level, that interaction with your teacher makes a difference in how you manage life, how you navigate. It's not just going and learning English, math, but what you just said when you as a teacher decide to allow every student, not say,
Listen,
okay, because you have been doing that, I am not, you gave them the opportunity. Had it been another teacher, then certainly things would have been changed. So,
here
of
is
course,
here is a statement
yes,
that I am coming to by telling that elaborate tale.
yes,
I don't know if they still, when they're training young educators in the colleges and universities these days, if they train them and they use this line: repetition deepens impression. There's a statement that people says that practice make perfect.
yes,
No, it's a lie. You will never be perfect because there's no such thing as perfection.
yes,
Lie. Practice makes
makes,
learning permanent. Now, if you can realize that permanency will come from practicing, then here is the one that kicks you in the gut. Repetition deepens impression. I learned that every time I drive the nail down, I use a hammer. And every time the problem is a nail, then the solution will always be a
be
hammer.
a hammer.
Ladies, go out there and stop drinking the Kool-Aid. I'm not talking about the worldly women, you know. We're talking about the ones who actually say that they are Christian women and come to teach the same nonsense as the world is
Yeah,
teaching.
but there are people listening who are not affiliated to any
I know they're worldly.
particular.
Yes, yeah, they're worldly. I just said that they're the same ones. Yes, those.
All right. I want to say thank you to our listeners and viewers this morning. It has
There's
been
a different category,
it
ladies.
has
They're Edens and they're worldly.
it has been the breakfast hour. It has been the breakfast hour, and this is the place to be. And of course, thank you for joining us this morning. And thank you for being a part of the conversation. So much happening. Tomorrow we will have our riddle. We'll have a lot more going on tomorrow morning on the breakfast hour. But remember, all the world's a stage. We have phases that it's such an interesting poem. William Shakespeare penned those words years ago, and we experience it. Just take a listen, just take a read, recognizing that certainly we always say once a man, twice a child, and that's what it's saying. And I will say,
That don't include women, of course. Please don't include the women.
I would say, go out today and live your best life. Today is just going to happen once, it's not going to be on replay. Give it your best shot. That's what I have to say to you this morning as we get out of studio on the breakfast hour.
I would say to all our peeps this morning, guys, I said this one earlier and we're talking about it. We said wives are not, you don't become wives when you're married. You are wives long before you are married. Husbands, you're not husbands when you are married. You're husbands long before you're married. Here's what I want to say to you: start training husbands and start to train wives. Ladies, I'm going to bring a clip tomorrow morning and I want to play it first thing in the morning. And we have the conversation around, and we're going to start the conversation there when we end it here. I want to say a pleasant good morning to those who have just joined us, and of course, catch you tomorrow morning, same time, same place, right here on the Breakfast Hour. Some stuff we want to expose, some stuff we want to share with you. And of course, remember, www.flashpointmedia.ky continues. Of course, John 42 to 6 Super Mix later on today. Some exciting stuff coming up next right here on Flashpoint. Stick and stay. Have yourself a beautiful morning and the rest of the day while you listen and stay with Flashpoint.
Yes, thank you so much for joining us. It has been a wonderful morning, and we want to say thank you for joining us. We certainly have been blessed by the experience. Um, and I know you can't wait to join us tomorrow morning, right, Mikey G?
I can't wait because I want to share that video with that young lady who decides she wants to sleep with 100 men and then afterwards she wants to be a wife. I want to just put it like that.
All right.
How about that?
Thank you. Thank you.